All right, so we're going to wrap up Chapter 5 on states of consciousness by discussing the healthier methods to move toward altered state of consciousness. And we're speaking specifically about meditation and hypnosis. So although most people in the beginner stages of meditation, they would kind of report that it's simple and mellow type of relaxation that they go through. And usually this is going to be followed up by having these feelings of mild euphoria. Uh, However, there are more advanced mediators that they actually feel stronger, profound experiences as if they had the rapture of the coming out of self, um, feelings of joy, and comes along with these strong hallucinations and that out of body experience that you hear people talk about. Sometimes it's just a hallucination that they've gotten itself. Because as I mentioned, uh, pretty much an individual, when you're even just breathing in deeply, you can get this real, when you get enough oxygen within your brain is having that moment of euphoria, that the feeling of nirvana, that you're in heaven. And that's something where the out of body experience comes from. The highest functioning of consciousness, it occurs within your frontal lobe, so particularly within the cerebral cortex. And research has been able to demonstrate that uh, there's been increased evidence that altered states of consciousness that one would experience through meditation, it kind of occurs when it's purposely you'll change how the prefrontal cortex, and that's the area that's immediately behind your eyes, would function. So typically, your prefrontal cortex would basically be balancing your working memory. It's going to help with the temporal integration as well as your higher order thinking, among other different tasks that it would have. So scientists pretty much they've theorized that based on brain imaging, which you could take a look at on the slide, that when you kind of focus on a single object or a motion or one word particularly, that you can actually diminish the amount of brain cells that must be devoted to doing the multiple tasks. And instead, it becomes more involved within a singular focus, which would be your meditation. So this narrow focus, what it does is it allows the areas of the brain to be affected. And since the neurons are going to be devoted to time that's been changed within that focus, what happens is you start to experience this sense of timelessness, and then it's that mild euphoria that starts to build up. Additionally, evidence has been able to show that meditation can help us cope better with stress. And y'all remember chapter 3, and if you don't, get to reading because your exam next week is going to be on chapter 3 and 5. But if you can remember what we talked about in terms of how to deal with and cope with stress, meditation was amongst that. So remember now, with meditation, success is going to be related to your ability to be able to control your mind's tendency to wander. So if you're one of those people who tends to drift off into other thoughts and can't remain focused, then pretty much what's going to happen is you're going to need to practice just a little more at the process of meditation. You would, I would suggest recommending trying to take an object that you like. Um, Say if you're like me, I'm a doll collector, I might take a particular doll and concentrate solely on that doll. Or it could be a song, a word, one thing that you can concentrate on specifically and just give your all to that particular task. All right, so we're going to keep moving. Now, in terms of hypnosis, from the 1700s to these times today, entertainers and quacks have been able to use as well as abuse hypnosis. I think I told a story about when I was a teenager in high school. I was in what they call the co-op program, where I actually worked one week and went to school the next week. And while at work, I worked at the Board of Education. Uh, And then during that time, there was an instructor, a teacher, who decided he wanted to try things out. He said, "Well, I like to hypnotize you." And I was like, "Sure, fine." I'm not one who gives control, relinquish control. So I kind of knew that for me, it really wasn't going to work. But if he thought he could do it, I let him try. And so he took out a watch and he swung the watch back and forward and said the lines, "You're getting sleepy. And when I count to three, you'll be asleep." And when he did that, I closed my eyes and I just stood there. Then he proceeded to demonstrate pedophilia by requesting that I take off my top, and I was like, that's never going to happen. But what it did allow me to do was catch you in the act, and now I'm going to let everybody know about it. Needless to say, that teacher wasn't there anymore after I busted him. Anyway, realize though, physicians, dentists, as well as therapists also have been able to use hypnosis as a clinical tool. Modern scientific research has been able to remove much of the mystery that surrounds hypnosis. There's a number of features that would help characterize the hypnotic state. So, in terms of hypnosis, it's narrowed, it's a highly focused attention, similar to like meditation. It's that ability to be able to tune things out and from your brain competing against different sensory stimuli. Additionally, there's an increased use of imagination as well hallucinations. And then there's the passive as well as receptive attitude. Again, if you're a control freak like I am and I want to be in control of everything, which is why I can't float in water because I just can't let go, then this would never work for you. A person that's within a hypnotic state, they're going to demonstrate this excuse me, got tongue-tied, decreased responsiveness toward pain. There'll be a heightened suggestibility for that individual, or you could think of it as a willingness to be able to respond to proposed changes with perception. You would say, like, for example, this onion is an apple, and the person might actually believe the onion is an apple and eat it and say, "Ooh, it's so sweet," rather than, "Oh," and have that bitter taste. So, understand that research shows that there's been evidence that hypnosis can actually alter brain's activity, and that's behind certain ingrained mental processes. So you want to just remember that hypnosis is a trance-like state of heightened suggestibility, deep relaxation, and it involves intense focus. It's great for use with people who have problems with phobias, some people who are trying to lose weight, individuals who want to stop smoking. It can help with your study habits, improve sports performance, individuals with obsessive compulsive disorder. If you watch America's Got Talent, Howie Mandel is an individual who has started using hypnosis within his treatment design. So, so now there's a lot of myths and facts that goes along with hypnosis. Just like we had with pseudo psychology, same can hold true within this area. In fact, one myth of it would be that the participants are faking it and they're playing along with the hypnotist like I did. Now, in regards to my situation, I did try, but because I have issues with control, I couldn't relinquish or become suggestible. So, but the fact is that there is controversy when it talks about hypnosis, and usually speaking, people generally are not going to try to fake it. Most research has been able to show that the belief in effects, it kind of results from a blend of conformity, people wanting to do what is said of them to do, being able to become truly relaxed, being obedient and following rules, um, as well as suggestion and role playing. Forced hypnosis. No, it can't be forced on you. That is a myth. If you are susceptible to it, it's because you're willing to be involved in it. If you're not susceptible, it's not going to happen. Okay? It's a conscious choice for you to make to allow yourself to go within, um, or be willing. Suggestibility is a willingness to be able to try new things and so forth. And you have to forgive my bird. He decides he wants to talk because he hears me talking. But getting back to the slide, uh, they say that it is an unethical behavior, that hypnosis can make people behave immorally or take dangerous risks against their will. Although you're in a hypnotic state, there is still a sense of you, a level of awareness about who you are and what you do. So someone can't tell you to go and rob a bank because they put you in a hypnotic state, unless there's something that was already there for you, if you understand what I mean. So, with that being said, that's kind of discussed in hypnosis as well as meditation. We are now at the end of chapter 5. There is an assignment for you that is actually a few questions. I think there's a total of 12 questions that I gave you this week, in which it's going back over some of the psychoactive drugs that we discussed on Wednesday. It's also going to be talking about meditation and hypnosis, just to kind of get you to lock this information in. And a couple of things going back and talking about being able to tell between REM sleep and non-REM sleep. So with that being said, this is all I'm going to give you because you have midterms coming up next week. There is going to be the practice exam, okay? So rather than having class on Monday, you will not have class on Monday. You're going to use that time to work on your practice exams. I will also be putting up, probably during the weekend, some key words and key terms from both chapters 3 and 5 that you can also utilize for your review. Wednesday will be the exam, but your practice exam is actually open now, and you'll have that available until Tuesday at 11:59. It'll close at midnight on Wednesday, which is excuse me, the 3rd. Your exam will open up. Please remember, you will have from midnight to 11:59, and you need to get the exam done, because next week will be no kind of makeups or anything like that. If you missed the first exam and you failed to make a request in terms of a makeup exam, that window is closed, just to let you know. Also a reminder, if you did do a makeup that and made that arrangement, then hopefully you submitted the work, which would have been a 10 to 12 page paper. We will probably not be seeing each other until after spring break. So, with that being said, do well on the exam. Make sure you do get your reading done, okay? Read those chapters before you even take the practice exam. Stop and read the chapters. Go through the reviews of the keywords that I'm going to upload for you. They'll help you. You'll do much better that way. Um, in terms of grades and of attendance, attendance is going to be entered all into Canvas next week. So you know how many days you've missed. I'm kind of probably going to be a little bit lenient because of my being out. However, class time is still class time, and although I've been out, y'all still had work. Days that I didn't give you an assignment is those days that was kind of being given back to y'all without making y'all do work. But anyway, regardless of all that, grades will be posted the following Monday, which, give me a moment to check, give you the exact date of March 9th. Yeah, that will be March 9th is when your grades will be posted within pause, and you'll be able to see your grades at that time. Do not take Canvas as having your exact grade because it does not take into account attendance and possible deductions or any of the extra credit points that I will be giving y'all from the assignments that I had given out. So, with that being said, have a great spring break. Do well, work hard, and do well on your midterms this coming week. And we'll see each other in 2 weeks. Take care.